Can you find Willy the Worm? Willy the Worm is hiding in every Tamalino story, and he pops up just about anywhere, so keep a lookout for him. The Adventures of Tamalino, Book 2. Tamalino gets a letter. Tamalino was woken up by a knock on the door. He looked at his clock. It was only 7 o'clock in the morning. Who could be knocking on his door at this time of the morning? Tamalino jumped out of bed, quickly got dressed and went to the front door. "Who is it?" shouted Tamalino. "Postman!" somebody shouted back. Tamalino opened the door. Sure enough, it was Mr. Fox, the postman. "I have a letter here for you, Tamalino. You need to sign for it." Tamalino signed a receipt and took the letter. "Thank you, Mr. Fox," Tamalino said. He was so excited. Who could be writing to him? No one ever wrote to him, and he never got letters. Tamalino looked at the letter. It was handwritten. He decided to make himself a cup of tea before he opened it. It was so exciting. An excited little elf sat down with his cup of tea and opened the letter. And this is what the letter said. "Dear Tamalino, how are you? We are not so good because we had a fire in our woods, and although our house was not burnt down, it's in a terrible state because of the smoke. The smoke and heat have damaged the roof, and we have the builders in at the moment to remove the old roof and put a new roof on, and this is going to take about a month. We're living in a caravan next to our house, and your cousin Tumble is very upset, and has asked me to write to you to ask if she can come and stay with you while the house is repaired. I'm sure you won't mind. She is coming on Tuesday. Here is a photograph of our house. Love from Auntie Jasmine." "Yippee!" shouted Tamalino. "This is great. I will have someone to play with." "Oh, it's Tuesday today," said the excited little elf. Tamalino jumped up and down with excitement. "I must get the spare room ready." He dusted, hoovered up and made the bed. Then he went outside to pick some flowers to put in Tumble's room. He did a great job, and when he'd finished, the bedroom looked lovely. Tamalino decided he would go and meet his cousin Tumble at the bus stop. There were only 2 buses a day that stopped at Toadstool Wood. One was at 10 o'clock and the other one at 4 o'clock. It was quite a long walk to the bus stop, and Tamalino thought he'd better set straight off. "I wonder which bus she will be on," he thought. "Oh, I hope it's 10 o'clock bus, otherwise I'll have a 6-hour wait for the 4 o'clock bus," the little elf said to himself. Off Tamalino walked, through the woods, over the bridge, over the river, and up Toadstool Hill through a field and onto the road. "Nearly there," thought Tamalino to himself. "Only 2 miles to go." Tamalino walked and walked, and eventually he got to the bus stop. 15 minutes to go," he said to himself. "That's great. I do hope she's on this bus." Tamalino waited, and soon he could see the bus coming. He clapped his little hands with happiness. The bus stopped, and people started to get off. Waited and waited to see Tumble get off, but she was not on the bus. "Perhaps she forgot to get off at this stop," thought Tamalino. "Excuse me," he said to a mouse who had just got off the bus. "Please, can you tell me if an elf was on the bus?" "There was one," replied the mouse. "A girl elf," she said, "but she got off the bus at Toadstool Mill." "Toadstool Mill," said Tamalino. "That's 5 miles away." Tamalino thanked the mouse and started to run. The little elf had just started to run down the road when it started to rain. and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. Tamalina was soaked through, but all he could think about was poor Tumble standing at the bus stop 5 miles away, and that she would not know where she was or where to go. "Oh, it's going to take me an hour to get to the mill," Tamalina thought. "How can I get there quicker? If Mr. Kingfisher was here, he would have let me have a ride on his back." Tamalina saw a horse in a field and had a brilliant idea. "I will borrow that horse," he said to himself. "I'm sure the owner won't mind." Tamalina jumped on the horse's back and galloped along the road. He was at the mill in no time at all, and there was Tumble standing at the bus stop soaking wet. Poor Tumble was crying. She was so happy when she saw Tamalina coming towards her. He jumped off the horse and gave her a great big hug. She had been crying. "I got off the wrong bus stop," she said. "I thought I was lost. Then it started to rain and I'm soaking wet." "Not to worry," said Tamalino. "I'm here now. Come on, get on my horse." "Is this your horse?" said Tumble. "Oh, yes," said Tamalino. "I've had him a long time. His name is Bobby." "He's lovely," said Tumble. They were soon back in Toadstool Woods, and as they got near to Tamalino's house, out of the trees stepped Mr. Badger the policeman. "OK, Tamalino," said Mr. Badger, "I've caught you this time. Horse stealing is a very serious offence." I only borrowed the horse," said Tamalino. Tumble shouted at her naughty cousin. "You said it was your horse. How could you, Tamalino?" she said. I'm sorry," said Tamalino. "I only borrowed the horse because Tumble was lost, and I was 5 miles away from her, and I had to get to her as quickly as I could." "That's no excuse," said Mr. Badger the policeman. "That is stealing." Mr. Badger took the horse and told the owner why Tamalina had taken it, and the owner said they would let him off this time. Mr. Badger told Tamalino, "You cannot take someone else's property without asking them first. Even if it is for a very good reason, it is stealing. Don't do it again." Tamalino said sorry to Mr. Badger and said sorry to Tumble, and the 2 elves went into the house and changed their wet clothes and had a hot bowl of soup with some bread. The end.